Almost all of us believe in fate. Even if we don't, we are forced to believe that some people are only granted that particular life of theirs from God. People who get a good life, or at least basic needs of life, are considered lucky, and the needy are the ones who are struggling to live a good life. We cannot change a human's fate or life completely, but there's nothing wrong in sharing your luck with the unlucky ones. That's what we did. A country where the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. Isn't that unfair? Well, welcome to India. With one foot grounded deeply in the practice of ancient arbitration, and the other immersed in the blood and sweat of underpaid coolie, Irumapati is a poverty-stricken city in Tamil Nadu. Did you know that 4% of the Indian population are orphans? And of them, parents of only 0.3% children have died and rest have been abandoned. But when you look through their eyes, are they really alone? The happiness on these children's faces is priceless. When they have someone visiting them, just a little care and affection can make their day. They have very basic needs and infrastructure. Most of the orphans only have 3 pairs of clothes altogether, and the surrounding of the orphanage is not so hygienic and uncomfortable. There are about 40 children in the orphanage. The age of the children are from 5 to 17 years old. They do not have a proper water supply and water filtering system. They pray before having their food, even though they are not as fortunate and do not know whether they have anything for dinner tomorrow. Their grateful and thankful attitude is ought to be applauded. They only have a small kitchenette equipped with the basic equipment. The food of the children is depending on the food donors. They eat what they get. During the days where there is no food donation, the children are fed with rice and only one type of gravy, usually plain. There are only 2 dorms altogether, one for the boys and the other for girls. The orphanage is located in an isolated area far away from town. They only have 3 toilets altogether, one for the staff and 2 for the children. They have to wake up early in the morning to take turns and shower before it's time to leave for school. When given a chance to express themselves, these kids get very excited to show their talents because there is no other avenue for them to do so. This is life in an orphanage, finding happiness in pain. Balkurchi, a place located 330 kilometers away from Chennai, which takes approximately 6 hours journey to reach by road. The people of Balkurchi are dependent on agriculture and are below the poverty level. The small town also houses a secondary school and 2 elementary schools. The high school of Balkurchi is located 2 kilometers away from Balkurchi town. The higher secondary school has around 500 students. The students were very excited to have visitors. Upon the arrival of the visitors, the kids were very conserved, but as time passed, they mingled. During the exam week, students studied very hard under the scorching sun, determined to have a brighter, better future. The students even make effort to water the plants. In town areas, there are staff in schools who does the gardening, but here the students make the initiative as trees are the only way they can avoid the hot sun. The high school of Belkurchi is not all different. The classrooms are in bad state and equipped with old and worn out furniture. Students normally sit on the floor during class. They do not have a proper study room or library. Therefore, students sit on the sandy ground under the blazing hot sun to revise or complete their homeworks. They do not have a clean and equipped canteen. Actually, they do not have a canteen at all. They only have a small space for cooking, and the children are only provided with food. Students sit on the ground or wherever under the hot sun to have their lunch. The cupboards in the school is not made out of wood and is made out of cement to prevent it from spoilage. The students go to school barefooted in the hot sun. There is no fan or proper lighting in the class. There are no furnishings such as tables and chairs in the classrooms. Sometimes classes are held under a tree or outdoors. The colors of the hair ribbon signifies the age and their form rank in school.
என் பேரு எஸ் மஞ்சு. அப்பா பேரு செல்வநாதன், அம்மா பேரு நவீனா.
நீங்க என்ன ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறீங்க?
நான் 10th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்.
பள்ளி முடிஞ்ச டைம் ஃப்ரீ டைம்ல நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? பொழுதுபோக்கு என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க?
ஸ்டோரி புக்ஸ்லாம் படிப்பேன். ஹோம்ஒர்க்லாம் செய்வேன். டியூஷன் போயிட்டு வந்து ஸ்டோரி புக்ஸ்லாம்.
On top of all that, the sewage drain passes through the school. The sewage system of the town that passes through the school, especially near the classrooms, worsens the environment, which then produces an unpleasant odor and an uncomfortable surrounding. The toilets are in very bad condition. There is no water in the toilets. The cubicles do not even have doors or proper toilet facilities. This is how most schools in India are, having facilities below the normal standards. And there's just one reason to it: poverty. The school building looks old and is left unpainted. The high school at least had a toilet, even though it was in very bad condition. The primary school, on the other hand, had no toilets. The students had to wait until lunch break to go to their toilet breaks. During lunch, these kids line up to eat and are very well disciplined, even though they know that the food supply is limited. These children are very talented, even not having enough facilities and infrastructure in the school. The subjects are only focused to general subjects such as maths, science, and language subjects. Even so, they are pretty good at art. These are some of the paintings the children came up with. The floors are not paved with cement. It is bumpy and has sand and gravel-like structure, which makes sitting on the floor very challenging. Since there are only 2 classrooms in the school, one classroom is for the students from 1st till 5th standard. The other classroom is for the 6th standard students who will be graduating elementary school every year. These children are forced to grow up before time and to be independent because parents are striving to make a living, and the children have to complete the house chores, cook, and also go to school to learn. The children sit on rugs or the floor during the class. They do not have tables and chairs and only have 2 or more classrooms in the entire school. The children often wear oversized uniforms so that they can wear it for more than just a year. That makes it just one uniform for a few years. People always utter the saying, "Old is gold," for everything that possesses a sentimental value towards them. But how many of us actually live by this saying? This is Salem, a home and shelter to 63 abandoned old folks. When you look at the attitude of these senior citizens, you feel a sense of ineffable pain. Pain of being abandoned. What's worse is by your own blood. And the only justification they are given is that they are to no use and merely seen as burden. If this is how the life cycle goes, is this fair? These people live in a rather pathetic condition. They may have a place to stay, food to eat, and clothes to wear. What they yearn to have is just some love and attention. It may seem small in words, but causes them a deep emotional distress. These people don't have any kind of emotional attachment towards anyone, unless they make new friends with other senior citizens. As the home has only basic facilities, they have absolutely nothing to do throughout the day. The saddest part of all is that the management of the home entitled to dispose their bodies after their death if nobody comes forward to claim it. They don't know what they have in store for them tomorrow, or there might be no tomorrow for them, though they are thankful that they at least have a place to stay and food to eat. Nothing can be done about the pain they go through. Only way to survive is to keep going. They are often invisible in the eyes of society. Systematic discrimination is common to them. They are used to being neglected and abandoned. These are just a few of the struggles these mentally and physically disabled children undergo. This shelter resembles a prison, as the children are not allowed to stay in their respective floors and are restricted to move around. The facilities provided are very basic. They are given food, beds to sleep, and they go to a government school nearby. But for those whom require special education aren't privileged to attend schools. There are some lucky ones who get to attend college too. Though they live in poverty and aren't able to entirely be independent, they are forced to find their path in life by the age of 17, as the home won't be able to accommodate them. They wave with happiness, even knowing that another day of survival awaits. The universe works such a way that every action we take creates a ripple effect. In the hopes of doing so, a group of 8 students from American Degree Transfer Program in Sunmay University went on a mission to help a small fraction of the underprivileged people in the land of India. On the 17th of March, they departed to Tiruchirappalli via Kuala Lumpur with much hopes to serve the needy, and their journey had begun. The organizers had a target of collecting at least Rm 1,000 per person. They started off by having foods and beverages sold in the university. Later they made their own way by making bookmarks to be sold alongside with some ornaments, and there was hand art service too. After 2 weeks of having these sales, they came up with a reasonable amount of money, but that amount did not meet their goals. Hence, they went around asking for donations in colleges and from friends and relatives. Thanks to the emphatic society we live in, they managed to gauge Rm 17,000. Part of the money was used to buy stationeries, books, chocolates, t-shirts, benches, and tables. Apart from that, they received donations of clothes and toys too. The children and old people valued love and care to the deepest level. They shared all their stories, happiness and sorrows. The organizers played games with them, served them a good meal, gave each child in the orphanage a goodie bag filled with books, stationery, chocolates and clothes. Plus, each were given a ringgit to give them a sense of Malaysia, and most of all, gave them love. The organizers felt a sense of responsibility towards the poverty-stricken community. Hence, JCharity, a sophomore in the university, gathered support from her fellow students and the committee board of the Center of American Education in Sunmay University. Under the supervision of the advisor, Mr. Devendran, 7 other students joined hands to serve the needy. Though their deed may seem small to your eyes, this experience meant the world to those children and the old people, because to them food, clothes, education, and even love means luxury. When we think that we know what poverty feels like, the meaning runs deep because we can only imagine being in their shoes. But the feeling of walking in it brings you to a whole different world. To us who have a blessed life, giving a helping hand to these underprivileged souls can be life-changing to them. We believe that we have planted the seeds to grow the legacy of helping the underprivileged souls, and our journey will continue. We have done our part. Have you?